I know a lot of people are asking the question about how could we make Bible class better? Jesus at the end of the Sermon on the Mount said that the wise man is not just the one who hears these words of mine, but it's the one who puts them into practice. In the Great Commission, Jesus said a disciple is someone who is not only baptized, but someone who is taught to obey everything that Jesus has commanded. When you're teaching a Bible class, take some time to make commitments. Block off some time at the end of the class, maybe a 10-minute section, where you discuss what is it that God is calling me, you, and I specifically to do based on what we've just learned. One of the things that we have pushed for in church is the ability to cover texts with zero accountability toward application and real life change. And so what you can do is you can incorporate this in your Bible class. So at the end of Bible class, you might ask a question like, how are we going to live this out this week based on what we've learned about God, based on what we've learned about people and ourselves? What's one thing that we will commit to doing? Not one thing can we do, could we do, should we do, would we do? How might our life differ if we live this out in real time? It's not a hypothetical. We are making a solid commitment to one concrete thing that we're going to do to live this out. Now, the second part of that, and basically it goes back to, it's like a Discovery Bible Study type approach where you're creating an I will statement. You're saying, this week I will go and do this. And you're going to share that with someone. You're going to share that with a classmate. So that when you come back the next week and you're teaching the next section of the text, you can say, well, hey, at the beginning here, let's just take a few minutes to review what happened from our commitments from last week. And the people who paired up, who shared that with each other can say, well, this happened or this didn't happen. And we call each other into deeper commitment through gentle and loving accountability. The other thing that needs to happen, the second part of this is, what happens if someone is making a commitment that they don't feel ready or equipped to actually carry out? And this can take another 5 or so minutes at the end of class to say, if there's something that you feel called to do, but don't feel equipped to do it, then role play with someone next to you until you feel comfortable and confident to go and do the thing that you said you're going to do. So someone says, I'm going to go and I'm going to talk to Steve. But it's like, that terrifies me. I really feel like God is calling me to that, but I don't know where to start. I don't know what it sounds like. Okay, what's the context? Is it evangelistic? Is it encouragement? Now get with a partner, tell them what it is that you think you might say. That partner is going to listen to what it is that you're saying and give you feedback and tell you whether or not that's confusing, whether or not it accomplishes its intended purpose. And you're going to rehearse that and work through that and practice that until you feel prepared and equipped to go and make good on the commitment that you've made. Now imagine that just being the last 10 minutes of Bible class. The effect that that's going to have week after week, month after month, year after year in the lives of the people in your class where they have collaborated to make commitments, to role play, to work out in practice, real life application, go make that application, then come back and talk about not just did you or didn't you do it, but the next week you talked about when we did what God said to do, then we watched God work like this. And now you're sharing testimonies. Now you're sharing God stories. So I encourage you to try this. Come back and tell us how this goes and that you can make this a regular part of your teaching routine within church. Even sermons could do this. At the end of a sermon, you could take a few minutes to work this out, spend a few minutes, write down commitments, encourage people, put it in your phone, in a notepad, so that you are a to-do list so that you will not forget what the commitment is that you made. You don't just want to make a commitment and just walk off as if you didn't. When you make a commitment to live what God said and you feel as if God called you to do it, then we need to be obedient to what it is that God said. But instead, we've had Bible classes for year after year, decades, generations, where it just said, all we're really after is for you to hear this. But hearing is not enough. We really must live out what it is we're learning to be obedient to God's calling and then share an encouragement through mutual accountability, the things that God is doing as we live these things out. That's my tip for today. Thanks for watching. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. And I would love for you to hit at least that like button so that YouTube knows to show this to some more folks. Take care and see you soon.